The SAR 9C Gen 3 shooting impressions video coming up. You will see my absolute first shots through the gun. First time I've shot the thing. We'll do full magazine plus one, see how it runs fully stuffed. Take it over to the what's for dinner table to see what the gun eats. Then the spinner for sights and trigger control, which will be interesting with this upgrade on here. Some practical accuracy and concluding thoughts, all coming up next on GBGuns. First shots. That's right. I don't practice and show you highlight reels on this channel. I give you real impressions from the first moment. The target camera's on. We've got a C-zone reduced size piece of steel about 20 yards away. I have 10 rounds of Fiocchi 9AP, which is soft ammo, but it's what I've got. We'll see how it runs in this guy. Whew, that front sight screams at you. This gun is easy to control. Wow. This is going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to this. Something I remembered from the original 9C that I reviewed about 4 years ago, I think it was the weight and heft along with a heavy spring really made it a soft shooter. And now with a lighter slide, I think they've gone even further with that. Full magazine plus one, using the same Fiocchi. Stuff's in there. I gotta say, getting that 15th round in was not easy. Maybe the mags will break in, let's hope, but it was a bit tough. All right, so we now have 16 rounds on tap. I'm gonna run through this. Hopefully I hit the steel, but really we're looking to see how does the gun run fully stuffed with soft ammo in a Turkish defense contract built gun. Smooth, really smooth, and really comfortable. With the original 9C, I changed the right side grip panel to slightly larger to kind of fill some of the gap in my hand so that when I place my finger, I have large hands. So oftentimes when I retract my finger to get good placement on the trigger, I end up with some gap, a little pocket in here, and I wanted to fill it. I didn't do that this time on this one. Didn't think it was necessary because really that's just a comfort thing, not a performance thing. And I think we're seeing that. Now it's over to what's for dinner and see what the gun eats. Thanks to our patrons, Ammo Squared, and some shopping, it's what's for dinner time. As I roll past these, you'll see today we're going from 70 grain up to 150 grain. You also notice that the ogive is in a different location. The overall length is different. We have different case materials, different projectile types and shapes. What we're looking for is, what will the gun eat? Will it feed from side lock, cycle another round of the same type, and will it lock open on empty? If you're curious about trying any of these loads, check the pinned comment over at gbgunsdepot.com. I link to them where I can find them. Target camera fired up. We are 7 yards back. These are 2-inch circles, so you have an idea. Not a super fine aiming point, but something to give us a general idea. Really, the target is just for in case we have any wildly different points of impact, which sometimes happens depending on rifling and projectile. Our lightest load today, 70 grains, is the Federal American Eagle. This is indoor range training stuff, so something you might want to look into if that's your situation. It's reduced lead or lead-free, I believe. Circle one. That stuff smells nice and loud boom, but not much recoil. Next up is the heavy duty heavy shot 100 grain. I bought this box before Federal bought heavy duty. I don't know if they're still making this stuff since it technically competes with the new Federal 70 grain lead-free frangible. Anyways, circle two. I'm really liking these Meprolite sights. This is softer. It's feeling more muzzle rise, but it was softer shooting. What's not soft shooting is circle three, Winchester silver tip, 115 grain. Stuff's usually pretty spicy. Shot very nicely though. I'm feeling more muzzle flip than I was expecting, at least more than I did with those first shots thus far. However, it's a really comfy gun. Usually the 4-inch 15 round 9 mils are a little bit on the small side for me and not so comfortable, but so far so good on this. All right, mags reloaded. Now we have a steel case, MagTech 115 grain. We grabbed the steel and the aluminum. Same reason you guys do. It's cheaper to shoot. However, the friction coefficient between stacked rounds in the magazine going into and out of the chamber, as well as the expansion and contraction rate of the case upon firing, is different than brass. So some guns can choke, not very often, but sometimes we see it. Circle 4. Nice. I'm enjoying this gun. What's interesting to me is the front sight, as you guys saw on the tabletop, is a huge dot, and yet I'm not having trouble aiming fine. Curious. Laser aluminum 115 grain for circle 5. Yeah, something, maybe it's just a good trigger, letting me time my hits, but shooting very nicely. And this is while I'm under the duress of spall and ricochets coming from the neighboring bay. Circle 6, Hornady Critical Duty 124 grain. This is plus P, so NATO pressure equivalency. Not bad. Okay, that time the trigger gave me a little bit of a guessing game. It seemed to release a little early on one shot, and the next shot not release when I expected. Another 124 grain, the PMC SFX, which I believe is the return of the Starfire load. Shot nice. Man, I'm glad this isn't a demo gun. This is one that I bought. I'm definitely keeping it. Next up, 124 grain Federal HSTs, nickel plated case. The nickel plating, if you're not familiar with it, the shiny silver stuff, is to resist corrosion for carry ammo. Also reduces friction so you get more reliable feeding and cycling. This stuff's punchier, but I'm not feeling any punishment for it. It's just I gotta hold on to the gun more. Circle 9, Federal 138 grain Syntech Defense. This is the interesting stuff that the jacket breaks apart into 3 projectiles, and then the core continues further for a total of 4 projectiles once it hits soft tissue. Very soft. I mean, I'm getting that muzzle flip, but it's comfortable to shoot. And our last load, heaviest load, 150 grain. This is the Syntech Action Pistol Gamer load. Usually super soft shooting. Let's see on circle 10 how we do. Nice, no issues feeding. Now, historically, Turkish produced guns made for NATO contracts or military designs, as the SAR 9 was, are known to be a little heavy sprung. That's because they're developed around the 124 NATO load, not soft American 115 grain. As you saw just here, ran all of these loads without issue. Does that mean that it will run that well for you? Maybe, maybe not. Part of it is in the wrist, so just don't forget that. Now let's do the spinner for sights and trigger control. That is our 6-inch Titan Grid Outdoors spinner target, back here about 13 yards away. Use this target for sights and trigger control because it's a small target at distance that starts moving once I hit it. The better I hit it, the more I hit it, the faster it moves, the more important and challenging timing a well-placed shot becomes, hence sights and trigger control. I've got 9 rounds of that Fiocchi 9AP But Graham, you normally do this with 8 rounds. Why 9? Well, because there were 9 rounds left in the box, and who wants 1 round laying around somewhere? Plus, I'm having fun with this gun. See how we do. Not bad. Once again, sights that I liked and a trigger that was predictable and clean. Works really well for a sights and trigger control test. Surprise! Beyond that was the comfort. I know finger grooves fell out of fashion. This has, that's hot, some subtle hints at finger grooves, and that adds to resistance for the flip a little bit. And as a result, though the traction is not aggressive on this gun, and although it is slightly small for my hand, I'm able to keep pretty good control on it. I was experiencing muzzle flip in the What's for Dinner, but when it came to bearing down on a target for timing shots like this, I had no trouble at all. So total package led to good success and performance on the spinner. Now let's do some practical accuracy. Practical accuracy using that same Fiocchi 9AP, because that's what I got, folks. Target camera's on. We are 7 yards away from a 1-inch square. This is practical because bench shooting is not what people do with handguns, at least not handguns like these. It's also where I collect my final thoughts on the gun and maybe shoot a good group. Let's find out. Still frame, yes. Now that 1-inch square is typically about the same width of a front sight post at this distance. I'm finding it to be slightly narrower than this sight post. Through the last one. I was getting a little confident there. It happens. After shots on the SAR 9C Gen 3, wow. I can't recall enjoying a compact gun this much in recent memory. This really, really shot nice. Comfortable, great sights, great trigger. The muzzle flip was annoying, but you kind of get used to it. And that might just be the way my hand is fitting this gun with these grip panels on there. We might try something else in the future and see if I can get a little more control on it. But man, what a great, I mean, the 4-inch 15 round is always known as kind of the do-all size. It's small enough to carry, big enough to spend range time with. It's a good general purpose size gun. And this thing's just fun to shoot. Really enjoy it. Did not put an optic on it because it doesn't come with one, and I test guns as they come. That way the review is the gun and not the modifications I made to the gun. I don't think I'd even try a dot on this with these sights being as good as they are. Holy crud. Great sights, great trigger, super comfy. Recoil was very comfortable, very enjoyable. As I warned earlier on the What's for Dinner section, it is a heavily sprung gun. That may mean that if you don't have the firmest of wrists, you might have issues with it. I didn't, but I've got big old banana hands and I shoot guns a lot. However, with that said, 9AP Fiocchi is the second weakest load out of 24 loads I've now tested for 9mm. So if it could run that stuff, it can run pretty much anything if you do your part. Sorry, that's the reality of it. We don't all shoot equally, but I bought this thing on a whim, saw a killer deal online for it, and was like, you know, they've been ghosting me since SHOT Show. I don't know if they're going to send one, and I really want to try it. I'll buy it. Holy crud, am I glad I did. Very affordable gun on top of that, at least the price where I found it. If you guys are curious what these things are going for, as always, check the pinned comment over at gbgunsdepot.com. I'll link to multiple sources where I can find them. Priced as of the day that I made that link. Prices can change. Click the link, it'll take you to their site and you'll see the current pricing. But man, this is a winner. That was an impressive gun. Thanks for watching. Just a little extra fun, had an idea as I was putting things away. Since I brought out the original SAR 9C and of course the Gen 3 that I just reviewed, can I equate a performance difference to that difference in slide mass, difference in sights, difference in trigger? Maybe, maybe not. Shooter, of course, is always the biggest variable, but back when I was doing the comparison video of the different 2011s, I developed a drill that I think would be fun to try this on. I'm only gonna do it once, so I don't have any practice bias happening in there, but I've got a timer without a delay, so it'll go off. I'll grab the gun off the barrel, control 5 shots at the bullseye, trying to do a rapid grouping, if you will. So shooting not for the tightest group, leaning a little more on speed, then move down to the A zone of the center and dump 6 rounds. At the end, we'll take a look at the score, total time, and see if there's a difference and see if I have any commentary between those. So here we go. The guns are both on the barrel, slide lock to the rear with 11 rounds in them. I'll do the math on the time, so don't worry about the pickup time and shots, but I am curious what we'll get for score and difference in times. So 5 rapid at the head. And 6 in the torso. All alphas. First shot was 560 and it took 1295 to finish. So magic math on the screen. And splits were 0.24, 0.22, 0.23. Not the greatest. I'll clean the target and we'll start on the Gen 3. Everything cleaned up. Time for the Gen 3. 5 quick up top. 6 in the center. Did throw 1 Charlie, but 3 right on top of each other. That was 855 with my first shot at 336. Magic math for total time. Splits of 0.23, 7370. So that can't be right. 22, 25, 22, 25. So around the same, maybe a little bit quicker. Did you guys see a difference? Let me know what your thoughts are. This is kind of just for fun. Thanks for watching.